Hi, this is Nikki Woods, and I am so honored to be talking to a person who I consider a force to be reckoned with on several different fronts. But she and her partner, Alfred Edmond Jr., are single-handedly changing the way we have conversations as grown-ups. Her name is Zara Green, and she is co-author of Loving in the Grown Zone. Hey, Zara.
Hi, Nikki. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh no, I am thrilled. I think that relationships, as you well know, probably better than me, is one of the topics that we never get tired of talking about, and that we can never, I think, know too much about. So I just want to talk a little bit about you and your relationship, business and personal, with Alfred, and just tell me how you got to this.
You won't get my business.
No,
it's all good. It's all good. I'm an open book.
I think they both work very well together, right?
They really do, and
yeah.
that's how it ought to be. It all should happen seamlessly.
So tell me how you all got to this place where you recognize the need, because it's not just a book. I mean, and I don't say this lightly, but it's a movement. I mean, you all have ongoing conversations, both social media and real time, about this idea of what it looks like to be in the grown zone. So tell me a little bit about that.
It's so lovely. I tell you, we say all the time. We started a conversation on Twitter 2 years ago by starting a handle called The Grown Zone, and we started the conversation, but people made it into a movement. And so as it continued to grow, and people started to ask us about different things and summoning us to come to different places and talking more about our positions, then we with that, along with just watching how we're force-fed in media about what relationships are, what the standards of relationships are, and none of it had to do with the kind of things that sustains relationships. So Alfred and I, based on our own experiences in life and love, as well as our professional lives as teachers and trainers in personal growth, decided that we knew some things about this that other people not just knew, but believed about relationships as well, but they're getting away from it because of what they're being force-fed. So we wanted to come back, remind people of what they want out of relationships and out of love and what they deserve, instead of buying what they're being force-fed and the marketing from movies and music and, those kinds of things that are making it very external and sexual instead of very cerebral because we throw our brains away when it comes to love, unfortunately.
Right, and I want to talk about that.
Start to make some better decisions.
Absolutely. The book is Loving in the Grown Zone, a no-nonsense guide to making healthy decisions in the quest for loving romantic relationships of honor, esteem, and respect. And you can purchase your copy on grownzone.com. But the first question that I had was, we're always taught that love is a feeling, as you alluded to before, and how he makes me feel, and he makes me feel good, and I feel good when I'm with him or her. But you say it's really not about how you're being made to feel, but how you are being treated.
Absolutely. That is what love is. It is about how it's about how you're being supported or how you're being nourished, and those are the kinds of things that really increases your capacity to love even more, because you're then growing as an individual. It's about how you're being made, how you're being treated. Too many people are following how they're being made to feel, and I can make you feel however I choose to make you feel in a moment, but that doesn't mean that I'm able to really care for you in difficult times. It doesn't mean that I know how to support you in your dreams and your efforts and the things that really are important to you. It doesn't mean that I know how to add to you and make your life better. I could just know how to stroke you and hit you in a particular way when I touch you that makes you feel really good.
Right. So these
and
are the kinds of
when you're being led by that.
Right.
Wait, say that again? Say that again.
No, I was going to say these are the types of grown zone conversations that Zara and Alfred are always having. But you're right. I mean, we make all sorts of decisions, I think, when we feel a certain way, whether that's good or bad, whether we're feeling good or we're feeling bad, we make decisions that may not be healthy for us in the long run. And that's just an example of, when you feel like you're in love, you may do certain things that are not, that are uncharacteristic of your normal behavior.
Oh, the things we do for what we call love.
Love.
Nikki, Alfred and I have this new thing that we do, and he hashtags love. Love needs a defense, because love really does need a defense attorney. People are lying on love left and right, saying that love is making them do all kinds of crazy things. When love is, if it's not healthy, it's not love, and that's what the grown zone is about. It's about being self-loving and having a healthy self-love so that you can establish some standards for your life and establish some boundaries for your protection. And when you do that, and two people who have done that come together, then real love, a healthy love, has a foundation to stand on.
Right. And I think that taking responsibility for our decisions, and one part of your book you speak directly to that we can only be responsible for ourselves. We can't really be responsible for other people, their behavior, and how they choose to treat us. We can only be responsible for what we choose to accept. So talk to me a little bit about, especially in this day and age where I think that a lot of women suffer from the no daddy syndrome, where they don't have a man in the house that may be able to role model some of these kinds of behaviors that you're talking about. How do you learn to value yourself enough to make somebody else be responsible for valuing you the same way?
And Nikki, that is the part of the book, or the response that we're getting from people who have read the book, that is really warming my heart the most. Women who suffer from the lack of daddy syndrome, who what they realize is, yes, it would have been nice to have a daddy there who could have guided them and directed them and given them the love they needed as a child, but who now, after reading this book, realize that it's not as much about the individual who's there or not to give the information as much as it is about getting the information. And it's never too late to get it, because most people, even who had daddies around, find themselves in a space of corrective and recovery, where you have to look at some decisions over your life, make some corrections about them, and still have to do the work to recover from those decisions, because we cannot avoid making some decisions that are not going to be to our benefit. The whole reason we're here is to learn from the things that we do. So we often say it is not your responsibility, nor is it within your power to change, fix, or control another person's behavior with your love. So if a person is not loving and putting you first, and when I say putting you first, it doesn't mean above being self-loving, but putting considering your feelings, nurturing to you, who's not abusive, who's not, constantly berating you, who's not cheating, who's not operating in the dog syndrome and you just tolerating it and those kinds of things. Because the bottom line is you have to make decisions that are best for you. And there are people who had daddy in the house who tried to teach them that, who strayed away from those things and still went and chose men or women who did not value who they were. So I think sometimes we have to really look at our lives and say, okay, I'm a full-grown adult now, and I have to take some responsibility for my own life. I cannot blame daddy or mama or the men that I've chosen for the things that they've done. I can't even blame them for choosing them. You know, people try and blame others for their own choices, and your choices are your own. And we are giving you, in this very easy read, but it is some inconvenient truths because it's not comfortable.
No,
We're
and I love that you
things.
I love that you say that you have to do the work, and I think that that's what we try so hard not to do. I think for some people, relationships are a way to mask the hurt, just like alcohol and drugs are for some people. So, and to be honest about that, this is going to be uncomfortable. It may even hurt, but in the long run, it's about being healthy and not just being, I guess, I don't even know what to say is in regards to that, but it's about being healthy and not just being in a relationship.
If it's not healthy, it's not worth it because you come out far worse off.
Absolutely. But it doesn't feel like that, I think, for most people in the moment. It doesn't feel like this is going to end the same way 88 other relationships have ended. You know what I mean? Even though some may say the writing's on the wall, for some people, and I speak not necessarily for myself, but for really close friends and family members, this just unending series of similar and unhealthy relationships.
Uh-huh. Yes. I see it too. That's why we wrote the book.
Yeah.
we wrote the book because we had to, in our own lives, before we met each other, had to come to the same decisions that we're in this book bringing other people to. That I have to look at my own life and my own decision making process. I have to be my own intervention. I have to I have to be willing to say, wait a minute. Now, I keep going in and out of these relationships, and I can't keep blaming the other people. Neither is it healthy to keep blaming you, because there are some people who keep entering relationships and saying, I keep messing them up. I keep running them away. I keep holding on too much. I keep, hey, between every relationship, you're supposed to have more information and be better equipped before you go into the next. And there are not enough people who are taking the pauses they need to. A lot of people are taking pauses, but they're not voluntary pauses. but not doing the work in between. And there has to be work in between. And we're giving people things to look over their entire decision-making process. So, for instance, there are people who, when we talk about standards, then we're not saying, a man has to make, if you earn $150,000 a year, then he got to come at least with six figures. No, that's a nice have that you'd like to have, but that's not the kind of sustaining standard in a relationship that's going to make it last. Because a whole lot of people make money in relationships. The only thing that means is when they break up, then there's less to lose. I mean, there's more to lose. There's more money to lose at the end of it.
Right.
So sustaining qualities has more to do, when you're choosing a mate, has more to do with what kind of standards you set for the kind of mate that you will have. Are you following me, Nikki?
I am following you. In fact, I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes because I think it's interesting. And, I mean, we all have our relationship stories. And I think that, there's not many people that they meet their mate, they fall in love, and it's happily ever after. And even if they do remain married for, the lifetime, that there's issues.
Girl, most people ain't happy in marriage.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to say. There's issues, and I think that having these dialogues, my parents, they've been married for years, and both of my sister and I have been divorced once, and we were sitting around in Jamaica a few years ago when we were talking to my mom, and she said that one of the children, the neighbors that we grew up with, one of the younger kids, was mad at all of the parents on the block because everybody had stayed married and we had all gotten divorced and we couldn't understand it. And she said she got mad because she blamed all of the parents for never, especially the women, for never having the conversation about what marriage is really like. Like, I never saw my parents fight. I've never seen my parents disagree, and for me, that's what a happy marriage was. So, I get into a relationship and you yell at me and you're out the door, which is fine, but if I never learn to work through what conflict and what disagreement, not abuse. I'm not even saying abuse.
Yeah.
I'm saying raise your voice. You know what I mean? So everybody has a different experience, but I think that we all at one point or other, like you said, have to own that, and we have to do the work. The book is Loving in the Grown Zone. Zara Green and Alfred Edmond Jr. are the co-authors. And because I want to ask you one last question, and then I'm going to let you go. I want people to read the book and do the work. But I'm interested because you and Alfred are an item. You're a hot item. And you're co-authors. What was the writing process like for the two of you?
Well, Alfred and I are very different people.
I know.
Like most people in relationships. We are very different people, and our thought processes are very different as well. Alfred is, as many people know, an award-winning journalist and one of the best editors there is, period.
Right.
So we are very good in business, in all of our business, because we have A to Z Personal Growth Enterprises, which means we do different events and as speakers and trainers, and so we have different pieces in our business that each of us are better at. Now, the writing process itself, Nikki, I think I told you this before. When I write, I literally throw up on paper. Every thought I have, I just kind of sit and let it flow. I don't think about it. I just get it out. I will often start with an outline. I know where I'm trying to go. I will, have a subject matter, still don't have title, subject matter, and the points I want to make. And I literally just go for what I know. I then have the privilege, and I recognize this is a privilege, to take that and give it to this award-winning editor and say, can you make sense out of that? And he takes it and he goes, oh, these are great. And by the time he finishes with it, honey, he has chopped that thing down to where it's ready to go wherever it needs to go and look good for whomever it is that I need to submit it to. And then there are times, though, when Alfred, as good as he is at writing, you can't edit your own stuff. So he will write, and we both proof each other's stuff. But when it comes to writing different chapters of the book, then we wrote our book in parts. This particular book, we've got another book that we're doing a whole different process of. But we wrote our book in parts. We wrote it chapter by chapter, and posted them as blogs in different places. And then when it came time to do the book, then whatever transitions or polishing, and in order to make it a seamless kind of something, then that's what we did. But we've got another project, Nikki, that we are having conversations about together.
Oh, wow.
Having conversations, and then he goes and does what he thinks we got out of it, and I go and do what I think we got out of it. And then we come together. It's like, oh, man, this is good because this is what I thought, and this is what you thought, but we get this whole new something.
Wow. Well, I cannot wait for that, and I'm just so excited for you guys. And I love, I think we're all, you, Alfred, and myself are all pretty active on social media, so it's always great to see a campaign from its infancy grow through to this, and I won't even say it's the end stage, but this middle stage of such good content and robust conversation. I mean, it is exciting. It's really what social media is supposed to be about. And so then to see it translate into a book and how you guys are able to carry the message of the book further with social media, it's been really cool to watch. So I'm proud of both of you. And I'm glad to know both of you.
Thank you so much. That means so much, sister, because you've been right there with us from the beginning, even before that. Heck, we knew each other when he was over there doing his Black Enterprise work, and I was over there doing my Punani Principles work.
Right, which is a whole nother topic. I wasn't even going to bring that up on this conversation. But, so I'm just so excited. I think it's awesome.
Thank you so much. And Nikki, people can pick up the book wherever they shop. It's everywhere.
Absolutely, but I definitely want them to connect with you on your website, too, because that's how to stay connected, not only to the conversations in the book, but the conversations outside of the book. So definitely support by
Nikki,
purchasing.
May I give people a gift? May I give them a gift?
Absolutely.
It's ownadvice.com. Then I have a ebook that is 9 keys to finding healthy love, even if you have no idea where to look.
Okay, well, guess where I'm going now? Grownadvice.com, right?
Yes, grownadvice.com.
All right, my darling. Well, thank you. Like I said, check them out on grownadvice.com, but also grownzone.com. The book is Loving in the Grown Zone. Zara Green, thank you so much. Give my best to Alfred.
Thank you, Nikki. I certainly will. We'll talk soon.